Mike.
And I'm Steve, and you're watching Comics TV.
Hi, I'm Tommy Gunn.
Susie Owens.
Voodoo.
Jacquelina.
You're watching Comics TV.
Spider-Man, Superman, they're all coming right to you. Venom, Bud, Archie too, they will all be here for you on Comics TV. Comics TV. Fantasy and enemy, what's it gonna be now? Alternative and mainstream too, here every week for you on Comics TV. Comics TV.
Welcome to another great show. Today's great reviews include
8-Ball, Octobriana, and Nexus.
Aliens Alchemy, Vampirella She, and Starship Troopers.
We'll have Vinson Watson and Pat King on our interview segment.
There's also Check Your Comic Queue and a dual review of Revelations from Acclaimed Comics. So stay tuned as we bring you lots of comic book fun.
Don't forget, the Comics TV In Your Face tour will begin tomorrow, Saturday, October 25th at 3 p.m. And Comics TV will have a live taping at the Walden Pub, 1233 Walden Avenue near Harlem.
So come out in costume for the 4th annual Halloween Spooktacular. It's going to be a live taping. We're going to have food, prizes, and surprises. It's going to be a lot of fun, so we hope to see you there. Now let's kick off today's show with Steve's very first comic book review.
My first review today is Aliens Alchemy #1 of 3 from Dark Horse Comics. It's $2.95 with art by Richard Corbin, the story by John Arcudi, Crisis of Faith. A new town, old characters, new faces, old story. When people of this town start being killed and disappearing, our hero, Sister Rachel, tries to figure out what's going on. And to no surprise, ta-da! Aliens.
Really?
Really?
I can't believe
it.
it.
I would have never guessed.
In an Aliens comic?
Yeah, in an Aliens comic. Unreal. The story is weak. There was no story worth keeping my interest up at all. The art by Richard Corbin, well-known fantasy artist. It's different look for the aliens. Not something I'm used to seeing in an Aliens book. They're more like manga type looking aliens. They're really weird. You have to see it to understand. Overall, I give this book a poorer than poor rating. Not hot, nothing special at all. Pass it by. Do not collect go. Do not pay $2.95.
Excellent, excellent.
You could collect go.
Well, in Steve's version of Monopoly, you can collect go.
I can be in jail and I'm still collecting go.
Topping the comics news this week, the Xeric Foundation has announced its most recent grant recipients. A total of $25,942 was awarded to Sarah Thornton for Scylla, Fred Hoffhines and Lance Miller, paper and binding, Kevin Quigley, Big Place Comics, Fawn Guywiller, Bomb Pop, and Robert Kirby for Curbside. Congratulations to the winners.
Congrats. CBI News, Rama reports that Gru is making a comeback of a 4-issue miniseries in January from Dark Horse Comics.
Wow. Also, in December, Awesome will be releasing a Spider-Man Bad Rock trade paperback by Dan Jurgens, Dan Fraga, and Merritt Michaels.
Did you know Dan Fraga did Black Flag?
Wow. That's very interesting.
Another report from Newsarama states Jinx Goldfish creator Brian Bendis has signed a 2-picture deal with Miramax Dimension Pictures to write and executive produced projects based on his Jinx and Goldfish comics.
Marvel is working on a Blade miniseries to coincide with the release of the Wesley Snipes motion picture of the same name. Stay tuned for more Comics TV news later in today's show. 8 Ball, number 18, is by Peter Bagg, published by Fantagraphics Books. This book is $3.95. Bagg's art style has become very popular of late, very typical too, with people like Adrian Tomine having a very similar appearance. 8 Ball is one of those comics that you either like or hate. There's a very fine in-between though. Ghost World is a launch story carried through many of the previous issues of 8 Ball. In this issue, Enid is trying to convince someone to drive her to college. There is pain and broken hearts. Enid is leaving the guy she likes, and she knows he likes her best friend better. It's a sad story. The backup story is called Black Nylon, and it's about an aging superhero. There's also a bonus mini-comic in the middle, so the book is kind of expensive. But Bagg's art and storytelling is deep and haunting. It makes you think about life. His art is just great. Beautiful art. Some of the best art in comics today. The book is pricey, but definitely worth it. 8 Ball number 18 gets a hot. Ninja Duck is a mini-comic by Josh Ellingson. Josh's art and story are okay. It's an action comedy. The art is very sketchy, but clear. Overall, the $2 book is okay. It's nothing killer, maybe worth a laugh or two.
What's a very fine in-between? Is that drink?
Yes, it's paper-flavored very fine.
Yummy! Still coming up, the dual review of Vampiro What Works. And next, an interview with Vincent Watson and Pat Kane.
But first we have, let's check your comic queue. And today's question is, in the 1980s, Marvel had a series called Secret Wars. What foe of Spider-Man's was created through this series? We'll tell you later in today's show. Next we have our interview segment with Vinson Watson and Pat Kane. We'll be back after the interview with a review from Mr. Steve.
Me, the big guy.
This book is Rage. It's called Rage. It's basically about a woman that was assaulted when she was younger. And through the time, she became like a vigilante. You know, she toughened her body up. She got physically strong, mentally fit as well. And she just kind of goes out and tries to make sure that, you know, that type of thing doesn't happen to other people. And this is coming out in August, as a matter of fact, a brand new book, and it's gonna be pretty good, a pretty good series. This is Dark Mage. This book is basically about a woman who's half human and half demon, and she wants to help. She wants to take over the world by acquiring these 5 amulets. It's kind of like Warlock, the movie Warlock, and there's a mage who's not as good as her, but he's got to try to stop her from doing it. And this is Nocturne, which is written by Michael Tide. This book is a vampire book about vampires who get tainted blood, and they go crazy with this blood. So Nocturne has to stop them because they're becoming very careless. So she has to kill them before they actually alert people that vampires are real. And I do a backup story in that one. I do Reaction, Sweet Child. Those are my most famous titles.
And you are a scripter, creator?
Yes. Creator, writer, publisher, counselor, you know.
Everything, and you said that you're just getting into doing some art now?
Yes, I'm just getting back into it. I had a long time where I just stopped doing art because I couldn't do the art and write all the stories at the same time.
Right.
So I got a lot of other people to help me with the art. Then I got back into it after I improved on it a little bit. So, you know, now people can look at my art and go, wow, this is good, you know, as opposed to going, okay, this is just, you know, whatever else is on the stand.
So why do you want to do comics? Any special reason?
Because it's like an outlet, you know. It's a place where the bad people are punished and the good people, you know, they thrive. And it's a departure from real life, you know. when you look around, everything is going on and everything's going wrong. You know, people are getting hurt, people are getting killed, etc., etc. And you know, nobody's really paying for it. In comic books, you know, somebody pays for it. The bad guys go to jail or get killed. You know, if that happens.
Right.
But so I mean, it's a departure from reality.
So, how long have you been doing this now?
Roughly 7 years since I've been in high school. This is artist Patrick King. He drew this.
So how long have you been doing pencils? You do inks too?
No, not yet.
Just the pencils?
Yeah, I just started doing pencils like about this time last year.
Really?
Yeah, I decided I was going to be a comic book artist about this time last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How did you decide that? What were you doing at that time? Nothing?
Well, I was just working, and then I picked up the first couple issues of Weapon Zero, Joe Benitez, and I looked at his work, and I was like, damn, I want to do that. So I just sat down and started on my way.
My next book is Vampira She from Harris Comics. It is a typical $2.95 book written by Warren Ellis and the art by Louis Small Jr., who will be here in Buffalo very soon. Who will be in Buffalo in November? Actually, he will be here in November in Niagara Falls. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later. This book is one of the most unusual team-ups ever.
This is an unusual review,
It's
too.
an unusual review. The new lips working with the new minder, hey. When she finally comes to her senses... when she... When she finally comes to her senses and believes that vampires really do exist, she ends up teaming with Vampy to destroy an undead enemy. That sounds really original, doesn't it? Oh yeah, and of course the mob. Of course they're thrown in all these books. The art by Small was excellent. One of the best she drawings I have ever seen in my life is in this book. The story, on the other hand, was poor. You'd think of bringing a bring name like Ellis would help. Ain't helping, but too much of one thing ends up killing this book. This is a hot title that does nothing for me. Now, on the Comics TV rating scale, Vampira She rates a not. Do not collect go. Do not collect $200 again.
Arms for the poor.
Arms for the poor. Bordy.
Well, you said it was poor. And who's she? You said she, so who's she? She joins with Vampira. Well, who's she, though?
She is somebody who's going to come and hack your brains out tonight.
Ah, well, I'd rather not have that.
No, come on.
Are you sure?
No, but hey, it sounded good.
Octobriana #1 is a preview from Artful Salamander. It's by Stuart Taylor and Dave Roberts out of the UK. This is the second Octobriana series, the first of which won Best New British Comic in 1996. The book is basically about itself. It's a mystery being told about Octobriana the magazine and a supposed Soviet underground movement in the 1960s. It's a somewhat complex story that is well written and crafted into quite the tale. It weaves between fact and fiction. I'm wondering myself whether there was an Octobriana in an underground movement in the Soviet Union. It's compelling. I like it. It's an X-Files-like. Buy it, read it. Octobriana, a definite hot. Hellboy, Almost Colossus #1 is from Mike Mignola and Dark Horse Comics. It's another interesting book. The 2-issue series is $2.95 each, and each tells about this pseudo-Frankenstein tale. Hellboy is on the trail. It's not a bad story, although at this point in the story, just about anyone could be in this book. I mean, it could be Sherlock Holmes, anything. I don't know, Hellboy just happens to be the person that's there. It's a good book overall. Hellboy, Almost Colossus #1 is hot.
Really?
Yeah, it was good.
How come Hellboy is always fighting Frankenstein, Dracula, Vampira,
Because he's a Hellboy.
Satan,
You know, that's what happens.
and pseudo-Frankenstein? Is he wearing a...
Pseudo-Frankenstein, yeah, he's got a
wearing
three-piece suit on.
That's what I was just wondering.
He's got
Was
a
it
three-piece suit
Sante suit, an Armanda suit?
No, who's the guy that was killed?
Oh, a Gucci. Versace. It was a Versace Frankenstein suit. Very nice. Don't forget, you can write Comics TV at P.O. Box 220, Buffalo, New York, 14225, or email us at comicstv@localnet.com.
Don't forget, tomorrow, Comics TV, 4th Annual Spooktacular, live at the Walden Pub, 1233 Walden Avenue, near Harlem in Cheektowaga. It's going to be fun. be there.
Yeah, me and Mike are going to take our costumes off. You're actually going to see what we really look
yes,
like.
It's about time, isn't it?
Yeah, for it.
Please, let's not scare the audience.
We won't scare them till
Please,
next
we will
week.
not scare the children.
We'll have to have a disclaimer.
Yes.
Here we got another review from Steve.
Another one for me. Dark Horse Comics brings you Starship Troopers Insect Touch, number 3 of 3. Destination Planet Kandutha. Objective, to make contact with hostile host. Mission, status compromised. The Planetarial Marines, planetarial, not planetorial, because they don't work at, the Daily Planet. Marines receive an SOS from one of their flagships. When the Marines show up, they have no idea they are showing up at their own slaughter by some very big, mean insects, sort of like the ones climbing around my apartment. Can they be stopped, or should they just be left alone? The story was excellent. I cannot wait until the movie comes out. The art was excellent. Very, very well drawn. A lot of color, a lot of detail. This book just jumped right off the pages at you. The movie Starship Troopers should be out November 1st, so check it out. And this comic is this is a definite pick this one up.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
Lorsh, come on up.
Wolf Rider is the newest ElfQuest story arc, debuting in ElfQuest number 19 in December. Written by Christy Marks, Sisterhood of Steel, and penciled by the one and only Wendy Pini.
It looks like Martin Wagner's time may have run out, according to Newsarama. Antarctic Press has canceled Hepcats number 6, number 7, and number 8, and the Hepcats 10th anniversary special edition. The books will be resolicited at a later date.
Solicited.
It doesn't pay to be out of the public's eyes too long in this business. There are just too many comics coming out. If you blink, you're gone. Or you have a dog bark.
That's me. Bad day. DC Universe Holiday Bash number 2. $3.95 is a 64-page featuring book. Not a 64-page, but a 64-page book featuring holiday stories with Justice Society, Batman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Superman, Black Lightning, and Darkseid. Highlights the sequel to last year's most popular holiday special.
Mike from the Daily Planet, does this sound like a good book to you?
This sounds like a very, very good book. I think we should pick this one up.
The October debut of Ed Brubaker's new series, Detour, is being marketed to non-traditional comic book readers. Fans of music and film are being courted to make Detour a cultural phenomenon. Whether it happens or not is another story. And that's it for the comics news this week. Mike Barron and Steve Rude bring you Nexus GodCon 1. From Dark Horse Comics is $2.95. Word is that Nexus isn't paying the bills and Dark Horse may be dropping it. That's too bad, because Steve Rude is a great artist and Nexus is a fun book. GodCon 1 is a great example of this. What would a convention of gods be like? This book tries to answer that question. It's a colorful, fun look at that subject. The only problem I have with the book is it's $2.95 and 22 pages long. Other than this, it's a great comic. It's clean. It would appeal to anyone that has half a brain. So it wouldn't appeal to everyone. It's a definite hot. Help save Nexus. Go buy an issue today. Nexus is pretty good. Nemesis number 1 to 4 is written by Laura Behari and illustrated by Craig Clark. Issue number 1 was a full-size comic, with the next 3 issues being mini comics. Each issue is $2.95. Eek, $2.95 for a mini. It's about Babette Buster, Private Eye. There's been some hype about this book, so I decided I should check it out. The art's very good with a different look and feel to it. The only problem is, it's not bad, but I think that he's trying to be great, but he isn't, so it looks maybe different, and you can't really tell. You don't know if he's trying to get that look on purpose or he just can't draw that well. The story's okay. It's going to be somewhat drawn out. I don't know. I was a bit disappointed, so I have to give Nemesis a not. And now, the answer to today's Check Your Comic Q.
What was the question, Mike? Run that by me again.
The question was,
It's
The
a tough
question
one,
was,
kiddies.
In the
This is a tough one.
1980s, Marvel Comics had a special series called Secret Wars. What foe of Spider-Man was created from that series?
And the answer is Venom.
That's right.
Venom was created.
Came out of the black costume.
Yep.
Spider-Man was a black costume for a while, and
He rejected. He didn't want that costume anymore, and
It's symbiote.
Eddie Brock ended up taking over the costume and becoming Venom.
That's it.
Spider-Man's archenemy, then best friend, then archenemy, then best friend, then archenemy, and the everlasting battle continues.
That's right. Don't forget now, we reminded you last week, November 14th, 15th, and 16th in Niagara Falls, there's going to be a big collectible show. We'll get you all the final details, but we've got Jimmy Palmiotti,
Joe Quesada,
Louis Small Jr., and
Rick Buckley Jr.
Buckler.
Buckler, Rick Buckler, not Buckley, Buckler.
Buckley, I think he's a congressman or something like that. But
And then
Rick Buckley
Buckwheat
Jr.
is-
Buckwheat is on the Little Rascals.
Little Spankies.
Anyhow, Little Spankies.
Little Rascals.
Little Spankies, isn't that a food, breakfast food?
Yeah.
Little Spankies.
Oh, that's Little Debbie.
Let's go.
I'm not collecting gold. I'm not passing, go to jail and whatever that is.
You may go to
But I
jail
own the
for
electric
Little
company.
Spankies. If you're eating Little Spankies, you might be going to jail. So, today on the Dual
Better than
Review.
eating Little Debbie's.
Today on the Dual Review, we have a book by Acclaim Comics. It's called Revelations. It's $3.95. This book is 38 pages, written by Jim Kruger, penciled by Patrick Zurcher, and inked by the one and only Jimmy Palmiotti.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Mr. Pavarotti himself.
That's
Mr.
right.
Pavarotti himself.
So, Steve, why don't you give us a rundown of what Revelations is about?
This book is about, if anybody can remember, Solar, the man of the atom.
That's actually what this is. It's a Solar Man of the Atom special event.
Yes. Solar decides, now that he's getting bigger, he's going to become a god. Help people, destroy people, save people's lives, make people's lives end. He wants to know what it's like to become a god. Well, everybody is watching him. He makes an appearance saying he is God. Everybody's questioning him. How can God come to earth and say, you're going to live, you're going to die, this is going to happen, wars are going to end, oceans are going to dry up.
People are saved, people in comas come out of coma.
Come on, yes. They're questioning it. How can a God do this? He wants to feel, seeing as he has all this almighty power, he wants to know what it's like to be a God.
See, at the beginning of the book, you don't know what's going on.
Yes.
There's this just outline
Orb.
of a person, and you don't know who it is. All these things are happening, and people are starting to say...
There's like special appearances in here by Magnus,
Yes.
Exo, Man of War. All the Acclaim comics right now are combined into this Revelations. They all led up to this book. And
You don't know who
is
really the God here, and people are saying, oh, God is coming. Oh no, you know, and it's all these religious things are starting. People are starting to gather, and things are going on, and it's finally when he shows who he is. It turns out that there was a split in time. What happened was when he became Solar. It was because of a nuclear accident.
what he did was they had a nuclear meltdown, and he ended up falling into the reactor to save everybody. He figured he could sacrifice himself to save everybody else, and he did. And he became the Solar Man of the Atom.
Right. After this, though, he had so much power, he ended up killing the woman he loved.
Because,
So what he wanted to do then was he wanted to go back in time
And
to see if he could
change
alter the
history.
course of time so that didn't happen again. And what happened was when he went back in time to do this again, he didn't come back as himself. He came back as a set of twins.
Yes, an
and these
alter
set
ego.
of twins in this second parallel universe were also trying to become gods. They were searching and trying to become gods, and it's because they were actually him.
Yeah.
And the story isn't bad. It's kind of complex.
Yes, it's very complex and very confusing. Younger readers are going to have a hard time trying to comprehend what is going on in this book. And this is, like I said, a ploy because Magnus, Exo, Man of War, Turok, they all lead into this right now. So basically, you're going to get this, you're going to have to pick up the other issues to try and follow into what this is.
Well, maybe, but I haven't read the other issues, and I read this, and I could understand the story. The beginning is a little rough. You've got to get into it a little bit to try and figure out what's going on. And really, once you read the whole thing, it falls together.
I only got half a brain, remember?
Okay, so he only read half the book, or he could only understand half of the things going on. But it was a different book.
It was definitely a different.
This must be our
book.
religious show because I did the Nexus GodCon 1 too. So
this is definitely a different kind of book.
What religion? Paganism?
Godism.
So, what did you think overall?
Overall, other than being a very complex book, I like the artwork.
What about the art? Yes,
the artwork was fabulous in here. The way they actually had in here some actual pictures of Earth. They're not, well, I don't think they're drawn, but it looks like they're
photos.
regular photos of spanning out, which actually was a nice combination of what is going on. And at the end of the book, Solar actually takes off this god complex. He peels it off like a costume almost. And one of the girl reporters that's there, he gives her the power of being godhood to understand where he is and why he's become this.
Well, you know who it is, isn't it? I thought it was I thought it was the twins. Didn't they grab it? Yeah, the twins grabbed it.
Took it.
So they actually had that god power, which means that there could be more stories.
Yeah, which I think there definitely will be. Although I find this book a not hot because it is really too complicated for somebody to just pick up and read. The artwork was great, but the story is just way too complicated.
It was a good book. I kind of liked it. It was different. $3.95, 38 pages. It's pushing the limit there. There's a lot of ads in here too, but once again, it could be like the Nexus, $2.95 for 22 pages. They got to try and pay for it. This Acclaim is not doing that great, and that could be a reason why they're trying to put it at a break-even point. But I kind of like this story. I think it was an interesting book, and I'd like to read some similar stories along this line. I don't want to read Magnus and Turok and Solar separately, but reading this in this
all
combination,
of them are together.
It's kind of good. I give this book a hot.
I give it a not hot. I just found it too complex for kids to actually read, or people with half a brain like me.
Well, at least you have half a brain to admit it.
Hold on, my brain's leaking out.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Comics TV this week. We hope you enjoyed the show, and as always, contact us here with any questions, comments, information you might have. Coming next week, we have a dual review of Crypt of Dawn and an interview with Rachel Hartman. Also, big news about Diamond Distributors and the Department of Justice. My name is Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Susie Przybyla. I'm having a hard time saying my own name. As we say each and every week, reading is a great investment. So when you visit that local comic book store, tell them you've seen us on Comics TV, the world's best comic book show. And don't forget, October 25th, 3 p.m., the Walden Pub, our 4th annual Halloween Spooktacular. Be there or be square. Really have a good time.